Hello there, my name is Mike. I want to show you something neat I did with the HUD here in NESMaker Games. So what we're doing is we are changing some words up at the top depending on your location, which screen you're on. So in this little work in progress game I have, okay, that's just an indoor thing. It's an indoor thing. You'll notice it says location inside house up here. As I travel through this house, it still says inside house. But if I go outside, it says outside now, and it will continue to say outside. Well, not there, but it'll say outside on each screen that I have a particular flag set to. Go back inside house. So that was my challenge I wanted to do, because I'm planning this game to have a few different general areas, and it will tell you what area you're in up there. And the other stuff here, like the heart blinks, these are just a pickup example. And this stuff is well documented in the NESMaker tutorials and stuff online, but this was a total mystery. So I wanted to just run through, show you how I did that in the scripts. And so disclaimer, I've been programming assembly code for 2 whole days. Not just on this, but in general, my extensive experiences is 2 days. So I don't think that this is gospel. I'm pretty sure this is not the best practice way to do it, but by golly, I got it to work. So I wanted to share with whoever cares to see this. All right, so here we are. NESMaker, this is 4.5.9. This is October 2021 that I'm making this little video. And what I am doing here is I've got my HUD, and oops, I'm sorry, wrong button. Just as an example, I'm going to show you what we have so far. So this is kind of before I made any changes. Okay, so right now I have, so right now I have just this regular HUD element here. Element 0 is an asset of this, and I could change that. That was my original thought. I thought, oh, maybe I can make some HUD assets, like over here. I'll make one for each thing that, each label I wanted to show, and we can show those. Maybe we can cycle through those depending on the screen, and that'd be one way to do it. Turns out that was not so much the way to do it, but just as a default, I just want to show you, this is the normal behavior. It just says Trader Joe's, no matter what we do. Doesn't matter what we're doing, that's the default. So how do I make that dynamic, so to speak? Well, here is my process. So that's one part was I recognized, okay, doing the HUD here is not going to do it. I'm actually turning this off so I don't have an element 0 on there. So there's nothing showing there, but I got the rest going on. As a way to tell the game what data to show up there, I have some different screen flags set, and so under each of these screens, under screen info, right here I've got user flag 8 set. Now I see in this version of NESMaker there's kind of 2 sets of screen flags. There's your regular old screen flags and screen flags 2. I am planning to have 8 different labels up there for different parts of this game, and I do not want to mess with these existing screen flags 1 because it looks like they're already assigned to some defaults that I really don't want to change, especially because I'm already using the hide HUD for one of my screens. So I'm going with the screen flags 2, flags 8 through 15 as it were. And so here I'm going to set this up so user flag 8 is going to tell us the inside code. It's going to the next screen over. This one is also inside, so again I have screen flag 8, or sorry, user flag 8 set here. But then in my outside screen, I'm just moving over to that screen, this left and down. Here I have a different flag set for user flag 9, and that's what I'm going to have for it to say outside with. All right, so here's what I found as the way to do this. So I've got some flags set. I've got the HUD has everything but this thing that I want to have in there. All that's left to do is the scripting. So under, I'm sorry, not the scripts, in the project setting scripts, the way that I did this is one thing that I like to do is I don't like to override the existing code. This whole game is based on the adventure base module. But I don't like to overwrite the code there because it's just I like to have the original code as a reference and everything. So every time that I'm changing some code, I actually make a copy of that file first, and then I reference the new file in here. It's a little hodgepodge because most of it's pointing at the original module code, some's pointing to this new code. But I'll show you what I did. The first thing I did is I had to find where some of these things were, and so it took some doing. A lot of exploring files and searching the contents, the text contents for different things I was finding. But one thing I found was, I wanted to load that into a file. Let me come back to that in just a second, actually, because I want to show you one thing that I discovered. Whenever we compile the game, so when I hit make the game, I found that it generates some HUD files. Let me see if I can find where those went here under this game data folder. So this is this NESMaker 45X. That's where on my computer all the NESMaker files are, like the actual. There's NESMaker.exe and so on. So under game engine data, game data. When I tell it to create the game, compile it, and everything, I found that it's creating a bunch of these little HUD files. And I thought, ooh, that's got to be relevant to what I'm trying to do. So, as an example, let's see. So HUD updates. This is what's telling it. Oh, okay. So for HUD element 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that corresponds with the different HUD options that we have right here. And I've not compiled the game since I took off element 0, so let me compile it here and we'll see that code actually changes. There we go. Okay, so it's already done the files and all that. I'm not going to actually play around with it. If I go here, it says, hey, this is reloaded, and you'll see right up there the code that was there for element HUD 0 is gone because we told it we're not going to do anything with it. All this other stuff is still running its different things. And so here's where I learned, okay, they got a thing for draw variable tiles, draw tiles direct. This draw tiles direct seemed to be what I really wanted to do, especially because I found when I tell it to do a HUD asset here as the element 0, it was doing some code to tell it, hey, draw these tiles into the HUD. And that's exactly what I wanted to do. I just want to do it based on a different screen and some custom tiles. All right, so that was just an example here. If I go back, I'll see there's our goodies. Okay, so it's telling it, draw these things into the HUD bank. Sure. This value is this string. I see that's different depending on the different elements here. That's the X and Y location, and then an offset to adjust those as necessary. So, okay, so this HUD 00 string. What I found there was, if I look up, oh, which one is it? It's one of these other HUD files. Oops, sorry. That wasn't that one. There we go. Okay, so this is setting what the actual code is for where these tiles are located and all that. And so this string right here corresponds to the contents of this HUD asset, which, let me show you. So there's this Trader Joe's, which of course plays an important part in everyone's game. So that was to my lock 1. So this is the code for Trader Joe's, empty, empty, empty. And that's what we have. TRADER 'S space JOES. Oh, I think I'm off a little bit, but space space space. These hex 35s are the blank spaces, so you can see those there. Anyway, so like, okay, so this is great because not only does that tell me how to store the code for that, but it also tells me this is how I can also generate some of these names. So if I want to change that to I'll just say NESMaker or NESCount, NES space TOWN. and then space, 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 space. Okay, so now that's my lock 1. If I were to generate this again, now let's take a look at this file here. So 2D, 2B, 1A, 1D, and so on. Everyone has it memorized, right? Now that I've changed those tiles to Nestown, if I hit yes, update, see, now those have changed to different addresses. So I know, oh, this is the string for the word Nestown. So for me, I need to also store what the values are for each of these location names, and so that's how I can generate it without having to lose my mind and do a lot of math. So like that's going to be Nestown. I'm going to just paste that into my secret notepad off screen. Okay, so that's one thing. And then what was the last little file here? HUD, constants. I think that's, okay, that's just for each character. Okay, so at this point I knew, okay, so this is how it stores, you know, the tiles for these strings. I have an idea on how it is drawing. You know, it's using this function to draw tiles direct. So now I just need to kind of tap into that. So here's what I had done. At first, I was looking at, I see this, I've got this do handle HUD. I think I found that this is where it's doing, you know, doing HUD updates. So I'm sorry, I'm just kind of winging this video, so I'm kind of losing myself a little bit here. Okay, so I'm just going to jump over to where I put the code in for this. So I determined that what I could do is make my own little file here. And so what I had done, so I'm going up into the routines folder, base 4.5, game, and now what I had done is, because most of the code for this stuff is stored in two places, there's a subroutines folder, and at least for this game, because it's based on adventure base, this is mod adventure base. So what I did is I just copied these folders on my Windows machine here. I just held down Control, copied it, and I let go, and then I renamed it. I'm not going to really do that right now. I renamed it. The name of my game is Miley, and so I've got Miley 2. And I did the same thing with subroutines. So subroutines Miley 2. So an exact copy of all those files, but this way I could change the files in here and make changes as needed. Similarly, one thing that I found I had to do is some of these files I need to tweak too. Specifically this load all subroutines. This is what I use to load my own files with, so I made a copy of this as well, which I'll do right here. Copy. And I'll rename that to Miley 2. So now I can edit this file all that I want without having to worry about changing other things. And so now let me do some of this scripting stuff. I'm going to appear to project settings, script settings, and I tell it don't use the regular load subroutine file, use mine. Miley 2. Okay. And so now I can change that file all I want. And I was going to create a new line in here. Let me see here. I've got this where. Oh, I was going to do it right. I don't know if it matters, honestly, but I put this above the other HUD files in here. I'm going to hit save. Now this file doesn't actually exist yet, so I'm going to make that file. Mod Miley 2. And just right in the root here, I'll just make a new file. Yep. Okay. And then in here, so I'm just going to paste in the code that I had written earlier for this. So, and I'll kind of walk it through. So these, I'm just setting some labels for these different texts. So this corresponds to the words inside house. This corresponds to the word outside. This corresponds to the word Trader Joe's. And then this is the code to actually do these checks on the screen flags. So here I'm saying, okay, load screen flag 1. This is the the whatever it is variable that's storing, which one of those little checks has been checked. The user flag 8, user flag 9, and so on. And then this is the code to check against that. So we're loading into register A the value of screen flag 1. We are then checking if it's user flag 8 has been checked, and if so, it will run this draw tiles direct HUD bank, and that is just the same code as what it was loading. Sorry, I'm trying to find it here. Yeah, this stuff. Draw tiles direct, but instead of passing it this string, which is what's being generated in here from NESMaker, we are passing it our own stuff. I'm passing it HUD0 lock string for location string and giving it the right coordinates and the offset and all that. And so that's saying, okay, so if it was 8, then and run this, but if it's not user flag 8 on this screen, then jump over here and then do it again. Load this again. Check now if it's 9. You'll notice that this 0, 1 is different than this 1, 0. And so that's a 1 there, that's a 1 there, that's a 1 there. We just keep moving down the line in this comparison. And right now this is only for 3 different options, but I'm planning to do it up to 8. I'm just going to stop here. This proves the point. So I'll save this. And so at this point, what it will do is when NESMaker loads all of its subroutines, it's going to also load this file that I've created. In this file, it's just defining what these things are. It's saying this lock string, 0 is this, 1 is this, 2 is this, and then here's this little function. I don't know if you call it functions in assembly, but it's this function to do this, but we're not actually calling this anywhere, so this won't actually do anything yet. And after a brief moment, I will show you how those get triggered. Okay, so we're loading all that stuff. If I were to compile this, it would do nothing. Nothing new, at least. But I might as well compile it and make sure there's no errors since I am pointing to that new file. And, right. Yep, it's just, that nest town is just what the HUD interface is telling it to do. So nothing new yet. Although I am going to turn that off now because we don't need that drawing there. Okay, so what's going to actually make it do the thing? So back to our script settings. I'm going to make sure that we are pointing to the right script. Now that was under post screen load adventure base. So where is that? And so the idea here is this post screen load has something to do with the screens loading. And you can hear the confidence in my voice. So I have already changed this in here to say, point to my mod Miley2 folder. And I will edit that. Quick note, this thing's saying I need to pay for it. I've paid for it about 7 times over my lifetime. Just new updated computer. Okay. So post load thing, this does a whole bunch of stuff that I don't know what it does, checking for floor tiles and so on and so on. But I did find that at the end of this routine, you can put your own stuff in here, and it should be running once it's loaded up. So I'll put the code down here. I really don't know if this really is the best place for it, but it's what we got. So this little comment to show what I'm doing here. And then what I had been doing is I was saying, okay, just run the HUD update. And so this is saying, jump to subroutine, update HUD location text. Okay, I'm going to save this. And then so that update HUD location text, that is in our custom file that we made, update HUD location text. So it's going to run this thing. And now, if I run this sucker, it should almost work as expected. Okay. Now it says inside house. Still says inside house there. If I go outside, outside. I go to a screen that doesn't have any flag set at all, and it doesn't do anything. So that's working. That's what we wanted to do. Hooray! I did something in assembly. The only other thing that I wanted to show in this video, which I'm surprised it's not behaving this way, but that's life of computers, is the first time I had done this, you'll notice this first screen, there's no HUD on here, and I'm doing that just because there's a checkbox on the screen info thing that says, hide HUD. So I checked it, and sure enough, it is hiding the HUD. But the first time I did this, it was still drawing a blank space up here where that was supposed to go. So I had thought that I needed to add some code to do the same check that the rest of the NESMaker code is doing to check if we are really showing the HUD or not, and if so, display it or not. And so this is the code that I had all together, and this is pulling from some other script. It was from this one, do handle HUD. And so I had deduced that it loads this game handler data, it checks it against this value, and if that is happening, then it tells it whether to jump to this skip HUD updates, which means that it just goes right here and continues, or otherwise run the do draw HUD updates routine and this and that, so actually do the HUD stuff. And so I added the same, this game handler, the check, over to our code here. Game handler, there's the check, and then run, skip to here, which is the wrong, it's not really a well-named thing to jump to, and then otherwise do this to do our HUD update. So apparently I don't actually need that because it seems to be running just fine without that code there, but I've got it in there. Not trying to win any efficiency awards, obviously, with this stuff. But that pretty much wraps up what I wanted to show. And just as an exercise, I'll do one last thing here. Earlier, we did the tiles for to say like NES World or something. Oops, yeah, I reloaded. So I just want to show you if I were to change that to. I got another window over here with all this stuff stored. So right here, so this one says Trader Joe's. So I'm going to change that to this. This is the one that we had grabbed earlier that said like NES World or Land or something. So I'm saving that, and that's for HUD 2. That's for if we have user flag 10 set. So let's go ahead and change one of our screens to user flag 10. I'll do this one, screen info. User flag 10. Okay. And now let's run it. And so that screen with the door should say NES World or whatever I had written. Am I right? Shazam, NES Town. Cool. All right. That's it. I would love any feedback of anyone on this stuff. Like I said, I'm brand new to this. I just did a thing and didn't see anyone else talking about it online in the NESMaker forums, and so wanted to contribute a little bit. I still got a long ways to go in this project. I still don't know why it doesn't draw a border around here. I'm trying to figure that one out for a while. 'Cause it's there in the HUD. I feel like there's a subroutine that's just getting skipped or something. See, border, I got it all. It's all, got my tiles set correctly, all that. Box, top left, box, top, center. Anyway, that's all. Thanks for watching. Ciao.